Women are talking more than ever about hormones. I think that is a great beginning, but there are two things missing from those conversations. It's women talking to other women and solutions. This is Dr. Deborah Durst, and I am a women's health specialist that specializes in hormones and sexual wellness. And this is my roundtable discussion panel on how medicine was not made for her, where we open those conversations about women's health, hormones, and sexuality in a way that medicine has not. This is not experts talking at you. This will be women talking to other women about what really happens. And this is just the beginning. We are going to expand this over time to involve live, remote, and beyond. I hope you enjoy the series. Well, welcome everyone. So let's go around the table or the group and state your name in just in one word. Just one word, might be hard. Just describe how you felt when you first noticed some changes.
Hi, my name is Marissa. Brain fog.
Hi, my name is Tirsha, and I thought, done.
My name is Megan, and I felt possessed.
I wasn't actually even thinking that I had to answer. I'm just going to go around to Faraday.
No, go ahead.
I felt left out.
My name's Faraday, and I felt crazy.
My name's Mona. I felt confused.
My name's Lori, and I felt uneducated.
It's hard to describe it in one word, but I do think that for me, I felt like I was left out of solutions or conversations in medicine. Maybe I missed something because all of a sudden I was going through things myself and then hearing it from women around me. And there were no solutions that I knew of in medicine. And so I want to open up this first panel. And again, the Medicine Not Made for Her Roundtable. And so you guys are so important to be a part of that and just an open conversation with women. That's the thing that's missing with all the social media and the information out there. But nobody warned me. I'd like to start this first one with a nobody warned me, no one told me. And I kind of felt the same way, just so you know. So I think it's just opening the conversation. Like, what did anyone else feel like that? Like something was happening and no one told them about it?
Absolutely. School didn't prepare me for this.
Yeah.
You know, you go into medicine and you think I'm going to be able to fix all my problems. I have all the knowledge I need, and then symptoms start happening and you're frustrated and you don't really understand what's going on. And then when you go to seek solutions, it's wall after wall and dismissal, but I knew something was wrong with me. So that's where I felt a little crazy. Like, what's going on? Am I something wrong with me? Am I losing my mind? What's happening? And I wasn't prepared.
No.
I only heard of menopause. I never heard of perimenopause or premenopause or anything. It was, and that was always just hot flashes and vaginal dryness. That was it.
Yeah, I saw my mom have hot flashes and night sweats and struggle. You know, she never talked about vaginal dryness because that's not the generation she came from. But I saw her struggle with it in silence and just figured, well, that's not necessarily what's happening to me. And I wasn't as old as her. I was very young when I started having symptoms. I was in my early 30s, and I just wasn't expecting it.
Yeah. Well, I was of the generation where no one spoke of it. I mean, you hear it now. People openly speak of it. But nothing was mentioned to me. I mean, even when my mom went through it, she didn't talk about it.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah. And I think I don't remember ever knowing that it would start as early as it did, you know? So I'm 47 and I'm in full blown menopause. Nobody really ever made me think that was going to be a possibility.
Yeah.
So
I don't think they've ever talked about ages. Like, so again, menopause, I don't really remember hearing much about it. I probably, again, when I first going through this stuff, going through changes, going to my first anti-aging is probably the first time when I really heard them talk about hormones and menopause, honestly. And it was a whole nother medicine that I had never learned. And so that was my experience as a woman and a physician. And so, but I don't think any of them talk about vaginal hot flashes. It's pretty common, if anything, early on in the conversation. Maybe mothers would talk about that, maybe.
But you saw them doing it,
Mhm.
right?
Yes,
You'd see them
yes.
flush,
Saw it
waving a
happening.
fan,
Mhm.
getting hot.
Yeah.
My mom had towels she would
Mhm.
remove from underneath of her that she'd sleep on.
Having to
Yeah.
go change clothes.
But
in the
not talk
morning before
about
work.
it.
Yeah.
I would just
Mhm.
observe it happening.
Mine started with brain fog. Sorry. It started with brain fog actually in my early 30s. And I had no idea that was even related. But it was brain fog. I would just stare off into outer space, trying to do my job, but couldn't do it because I couldn't focus. My hair was extremely frizzy. My nails were breaking off. I was working out 5 days a week, and I got zero muscle tone from it.
Doing the same things that you were always doing.
So I started hormone replacement age 32.
Mine came in through anxiety and depression. And I didn't know any of that because stress was at work was really high at the time. And my children were so young. My mother vaguely mentioned, could it be? And I was like, I'm too young for that. And after years of dealing with all the ups and downs and not feeling like yourself and feeling like you're crazy because you would seek answers and they'd be like, oh, you're just, and I was like, there is something wrong with me. I don't feel like myself. And so once I'm where I am now and I can look back, it did start so much earlier than I thought. And so I'm so happy that we're talking now because the perimenopause piece really is it's the worst of it to me,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Because it
Oh,
is
yeah.
the unpredictability. It is the missed periods and a surprise period and a
Thinking you're
anger,
pregnant.
right? Yeah. You're angry
Sorry.
one minute
Yeah,
and
to
down
say
and
it.
out in the next. And so happy-go-lucky the next. There was just a wide range of emotions where I felt like I was steady before that. And now it's like, well,
No, I think you're right. That perimenopause, and now they're obviously talking about it more. To me, it was just like, that was kind of the bulk of a lot of what obviously it's what I was going through, but a bulk of the women that we treat. And yeah, we say perimenopause, but I just still didn't realize that no one really knew about it. But that's the transition phase. Tell me what you guys think, because one of the things that bothers me that I see on social media a lot is there's perimenopause, which we're talking about, which I think is great, because that's a big transition, 10 plus years, plus or minus some years, and that your hormones are all over the place. And really everything we described was what you're going through with perimenopause. And then they talk about menopause as if it's a day in the life. And it drives me crazy because that part, I think, is confusing for women, because your peri, coming out of the childbearing years, your hormones are all over the place. And then once you hit menopause, your estrogen drops and you're in menopause for the rest of your life. So there isn't like a menopause day in the life and then you're postmenopausal.
And everything's fine.
And
Right?
everything's
It's almost
fine.
like this, like you're going to go through menopause and then
Yes.
you're fine.
Because a
Return
lot
to
of
normal.
women,
People say that.
And it's crazy.
Yes.
women come into us and say that, oh, well, I really didn't have those issues. Because if they didn't have hot flashes, they're like, or I had them, but they went. Because I think hot flashes can be really bad for some women and not so bad. And we should go around the room and talk about that, because that happens even in perimenopause. But that usually goes away. But the vaginal dryness, the rest of it stays. But you're menopausal. Once you're menopausal, you're not making estrogen. You're there for the rest of your life. And people, I think women are confused by that, because it's menopause, like a day in the life, 12 months after your last missed period. So how many women come in and are that clear cut? Tirsha?
Never. Never.
Yeah.
They're never
Yeah.
that clear cut.
No.
Or they're like, well, I already went through menopause. Why do I still feel like this?
Mm-hmm.
I thought, like, how long is this going to last? I'm like, this is your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can do something about it, or we can continue to suffer.
It's a continual chemical change through the
Yeah.
body that it's there.
It's not coming back.
Yeah, right. But your hormones are still, unless you do something about it.
So I would just say from this point on with our Roundtable series that it's perimenopause and menopause. There isn't a postmenopause. I don't know what that means. Because
And it's a continuum.
yeah,
Like, it just keeps going.
you're just there for the rest of your life. And so, because that's when your estrogen drops. So what about who saw a doctor and like what kind of conversations were had? What kind of answers did you get?
I saw my gynecologist and she put me on an antidepressant She said that I was depressed because she came in and asked how I was feeling. And I started crying. I said, I feel awful. And I don't know what it is. And her first response is to put me on an antidepressant.
Yeah.
Same.
How common is that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Same. And I refused because I said, no, there's something else to this. I can do something else. I can try before I get on medicine that I might have to be on for the rest of my life. Let's explore this some more. Okay, here's just some progesterone.
Well, at
Maybe
least you were given
sleepy.
progesterone.
And then it was like, I was sleepy all the time. Oh, it's just what it is. I never got the directions of you might need to take it at night. You might need to do this. It was nothing. So I just came off of it and suffered through it.
Oh, my gosh. Did they draw your labs before giving you that?
No.
Yeah, that's the other kicker. No one will.
No.
And did anyone ever have questions related to sex or changes there that,
Nobody ever asked me any of that.
yeah.
I was having terrible night sweats. And I was told, well, your hormones can fluctuate 3, 4, 5 years after a baby. And I'm like, I am sweating through my clothes and I feel crazy. Something's not right. They offered me an antidepressant. I said, I'm not a depressed person. I don't need an antidepressant. I need to know what's wrong. And they said, well, check your thyroid. And then I got blown off because I was young.
Yeah.
And they blew me off and they offered me sleeping meds. They offered me antidepressants and nobody helped. And like Dr. Durst, I went to a conference for an anti-aging conference and it was like it just opened up. And I'm like, here we go. All right, maybe this is what's going on. And it took me meeting a physician at a conference and we were talking and she's like, you need your hormones drawn. Not once did anyone offer to draw my hormones.
I went to a general practitioner and told him about my journey. And he had found out that I had tried one antidepressant. And I said, it didn't work. I don't like the way I felt on it. He goes, well, we've got we've got like 45 different versions. So we can keep trying them until one of them works. And I was like, yikes.
There's a red flag.
Yeah, there's a big red
That's
flag.
a bit
You know, I said,
scary.
I know I'm okay. I don't need to be pushed onto drugs.
And top symptom was brain fog for you.
Mhm.
And then, and your top symptom, again, Tersha, because we talked about how you feel, but what was the top symptom that you had? Like the thing that
Mine-
bothered you the most?
Mine was the anxiety and it would turn to anger. And I didn't like being that angry.
Rage.
So I
Like,
rage. I was
rage.
getting scared the way I was responding and could not, no matter how much I knew what I was looking like and acting like in the moment. I couldn't stop it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the
And that's
possessed feeling.
where it makes me
That
want
was-
to cry because of
Yeah.
who I took it out on and who saw it. And it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to think that you can't control yourself a little more than that.
It's like you're watching yourself.
Yes.
Yes.
Going,
Yes.
why am I behaving like this?
Yes.
This is not me.
And why can't I get control over
But there's
it?
no stopping.
Yeah.
You know it's wrong. You know you shouldn't
Yeah.
be behaving like this, that there's no reason to be behaving like this,
Yeah.
but it's happening.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just going to unfold and
Yeah.
it's going to be what it is.
Yeah.
And then I was anxious because I was like, am I going to be at work and this erupts? Am I going to be at home? Like, when
Yeah.
is this going to happen? And it was just all the time.
Who's going to be the person?
Yeah.
Who's going to get it?
Poor husband.
Everyone dies. Who's gonna get it?
Everyone dies.
I would call it the everyone dies moment. My kids knew it. Like it was like once it hit and it was like everyone dies. Like we're gonna
Yeah.
be
You see red.
No survivors.
Who's
And
yeah,
then you don't
who's-
even remember what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the crazy
Or the guilt.
feeling.
Yeah.
For behaving like that
Right.
after.
Yeah.
The guilt's real.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only way to deal with the guilt. So, like, I was having conversations with my kids recently, like, where there's a few times with each child where you were like that, and you feel guilty. But part of parenting is also guilt.
Yeah.
Like that's just part of being a mom. That's for sure. But
We all have our
one of
moments.
the best ways I found to deal with it is just to tell other parents, other moms, when something was happening and they felt bad about it. I'm just like, just talk to me. I can give you a story that's worse. You'll feel much better. So that like little small group therapies helped me. I can make you feel better. But and then yours was the same.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Just not feeling like I could control my anger, irritability, and even walking down the street and seeing a total stranger and just like wishing they would spontaneously combust and like just this rage. Like and just why? Like you're like, my life isn't bad. Everything
Yeah.
is fine. So why am I just so angry?
Mhm.
And just, yeah.
Yeah, mine was mood for sure
Mhm.
too. and the mood changes and, you know, just not feeling like yourself. That is the most common reason that women come is it's just, I don't feel like myself. So I just say if a woman doesn't feel like herself, that should just be your answer. Like it could be so many different things, but if you don't feel like yourself, then there's probably a reason for it. And there's obviously a root reason for it that we're talking about more. So, and yours was again,
Mine were the mood swings as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Physically, mine weren't bad. I didn't have bad hot flashes or a lot of brain fog. I mean, there was some, but it was definitely
There were some
mood
lies
swings.
out there, weren't there?
There were some lies. Like that vaginal dryness stuff was
There's a lie.
a big one.
There were lots of lies out there. That's a lie. And then yours was brain.
Mine actually, I was lucky because, like, talking to my mom, she always said she went through it late in her 50s. And so I really didn't have much, not like what you girls are talking about and describing, because I started HRT 7 or 8 years ago. I've been a patient with Deb for about that long. So I can speak to getting on in the right moment to where it saves a lot of that, and being regular with it as well. Because I will notice, like, I'm a remote patient, and so I don't always get in the right time. I can tell when it's coming. I went through hot flashes one time, and I told my husband, never again. I will be down there in Knoxville every 3 months or so. So just be prepared. I will be taking a flight, because that's how I did it one time. And I'm like, that is never going to happen again. And so just, you know, talking to people like this and talking to other women and getting all of this feedback and talking to your mom or your aunts or anybody in your world to say, this is about time when I went through, and so go see somebody, see a hormone specialist, and then you can do this ahead of time, and you can preemptively look at this whole situation. And then I really was very blessed in the fact that I just got on the HRT program early enough to where it was good.
Yeah, I think that's important. So my mother never talked about it at all. Like I never heard, and she still doesn't. She doesn't know what I do. Even now, we were asking her the other night some questions, and she's like, "I have no idea." Like, but she's still going through all the symptoms. But it's and she's not too old. Like again, I don't think that like at our office we don't really believe that there is an age limit, because they'll talk a lot about that too on social media, where they'll say, you know, if you're beyond 10 years, you know. After going through menopause, if you when you started menopause, if it's been 10 years, that you shouldn't be placed on hormones. But again, I think that is completely dependent on the woman. We do it, you know, dependent on the woman. Like again, risk factors, informed decision making, you know, so we have a lot of women, and there is no age limit or any end to it too. There's reasons why we have to adjust or change things, but that's dependent on the woman too. So so if somebody's not feeling like themselves, is that what you would say too then? Like if they're not feeling like themselves, they're not alone, clearly, you know, and they should see somebody. But I think a hormone specialist is.
Absolutely.
I think that we have traditional medicine, and it sounds like we got some prescriptions. Anyone get misdiagnosed or dismissed completely?
I was dismissed completely because of my age.
Yeah.
I was young. So I'm probably the only one here not in full-blown menopause. I'm perimenopause. I'm one of those. I'm perimenopause.
I don't know.
I don't know. I started early 30s.
With the menopause, I can remember. Yeah, again, I can identify people in other ways. But not always on a lab panel. It's not my strength.
But I was lucky enough to be educated, so I was able, I'm going through the stages. It started with progesterone, with the night sweats, and the mood, and the frustration, and then came libido issues, and brain fog, and having a hard time pulling words, and that ended up just being testosterone, not estrogen. Didn't need estrogen, making plenty of that. Ended up being testosterone. Once I started testosterone, I stopped forgetting words, stopped mixing up my words when I was speaking. And then when it gets time where I need estrogen, I'll just roll right into that because I'm not going to have the vaginal dryness.
Right.
That's why.
Lucky you.
Well, it does not have to be present.
I'm lucky.
It does not.
Yeah.
Most women
Vaginal
don't
dryness
do that.
does not
Mhm.
have to happen in menopause, just so everyone's aware. And again,
Yes.
there's so many different ways to go about that in addition to just hormone optimization. Because we have babies, things change, and that's what we'll kind of talk about in further series is because there's a lot of sexual encounters and experiences and questions that women have of all ages. And that never is a conversation that happens in traditional medicine. Has any doctor ever asked any of you anything about sex on an intake form, on a
No.
visit? There's nothing like, hey, is everything good? Any pain, any dryness?
No.
Little.
I don't
And not
remember
even
that.
now, which is surprising to me because the conversations are kind of going in that direction. But even now, any of the intake forms in traditional medicine doesn't
Or
include
just
that.
not, yeah.
It's about mood. You know,
They screen.
everything.
I was
Depression,
lucky enough to
anxiety.
already be in the industry and understanding it early, but I didn't think that was what my problem was. We drew my labs and figured out I had 0 testosterone, 0, and had thyroid issues.
Yeah.
And then that changed everything.
Were some things normal? Everything else was normal?
I don't remember. I just remember what was like off the charts or bottomed out.
Was anyone, did anyone get labs checked and told they were normal?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They only checked
Multiple
my thyroid.
times.
And they said, your thyroid's normal.
You're just going to keep bringing up that you're
It was
the only
ridiculous.
one in perimenopause. Got it.
But that's all they checked. That's all that anyone checked.
Well,
I'm
I
so
too
glad
was
you're
my
out
thyroid.
with perimenopause.
Every once in a while, we're just gonna
Give me. She just likes to give me a hard
This is the only
time.
one in perimenopause.
But-
No.
But when we're talking
No,
about
yes,
it, it's a
but-
good distinction. I'm not
Yeah.
there yet,
No,
but I don't
I
want to
actually-
go through it.
I
You know,
actually-
and I don't have to, and neither
Yes.
does anyone else out there listening. You don't
Yeah.
have to go through it.
Right.
I actually think it's very important because again, while we've all went through it, I think you still being there and just talking about, because again, you are the one that has had the labs that, hey, it's normal or it's
Yeah.
definitely not that. And then they do something, and when you actually get it tested the right way or at least interpreted the right way.
I felt
Yeah, it's not
relief.
optimal.
I don't know about all of
Yeah.
you, but I was
Oh, yes.
like, I knew I was not crazy,
Mhm.
right? I mean, I might be a little crazy, but I mean, but
We're all
there was a
crazy.
reason
I was
that I
walking
was
on the
feeling
moon
the way I was
afterwards.
feeling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a relief.
That's why I said I thought I was done. I was like, well, you go to all these doctors and it's just, well, this is the way of life. This is how, and so you're like, well, so that's it? I mean, the way I used to feel is done.
So the good sex is done.
It's all
Forget
done.
it.
Yeah.
And then coming in and getting everything measured and ready to go right then, I was like, wait, we can do this right now? Yes, we can. I was like, okay, let's get started.
So did it make a difference for everyone? And again, over time, when we do this series, what I want to open up is, open it up to more, we'll do some lives for a topic and just question answer, but also just open it up for other women to be involved, just to hear, because again, they need to know that there's solutions out there. Solutions don't get talked about enough. I think they throw more facts, and there's more facts. Even I get confused by listening to them sometimes because I love that we're talking about it more, but I feel like women also want to know that. So there's solutions there. So what's the one thing that worked the best for you? Because then we're going to tie this one up shortly, but what's the one thing that you feel like because again, we can do treatments on somebody, but somebody will have in their mind what's helped them the most. So we'll go around and that's how we'll end it. What's the one thing that you feel like?
I don't know that it's one,
Yeah, that's
but first started with thyroid meds and then the testosterone. And then I was walking on the moon after that.
Okay.
And it was the combination. I don't think I could have had one without the other to say that.
Mine was testosterone. I tell people the first time I had it, I walked out of the office and looked across the parking lot, and the leaves on the trees were just so colorful, and the sky was so blue, and I was just like,
Are you sure it was
literally,
testosterone?
literally and figuratively, colors got brighter and things got crisper and clearer, and just my vision alone, plus the thinking patterns and those kinds of things, and I felt a little more like a younger version of myself, and I could have cried. Yeah.
For sure.
Yes, definitely testosterone. I mean, the progesterone helped me sleep, but like for the fact of feeling like yourself again, I think it was definitely testosterone therapy.
It was definitely testosterone for me. And honestly, pellets too, because I did creams leading up to it. We weren't doing injections at the time, but we did creams. I started with creams in practice. And then, I thought, it didn't feel that bad. It was like a more insidious. And then when I did pellets, it was like the light bulb went on. It was like you could hear things better. You could see things better. And I tell patients that sometimes when they come in and they feel so bad, it's like, hey, journal down how you're feeling right now so that you can actually go back and kind of say how you've changed, because you almost forget.
Yes.
But it was kind of like, oh, this is how I used to feel. And so testosterone for me too.
For me, at first, it was progesterone because of the night sweats. They stopped within 2 weeks. And then a couple years later, when symptoms of low testosterone hit, as soon as I replaced testosterone, everything got better. So it was kind of like Marissa. I can't say one over the other, but I'm a little bit more in stages of how I've replaced. So I could have sworn progesterone saved my life. And then with testosterone, I'm like, oh, this is phenomenal. This is great. So you kind of need them all.
Yeah. Testosterone pellets for me, for sure, because I tried the cream. And actually, my gynecologist told me to get off the cream immediately because it would make me grow hair. And my voice would deepen, which I don't have a deep voice at all. I was like, well, that would be welcome. But the pellets really were like life-changing. It was like I felt young again.
It's definitely a layered process because of the way the hormones go, right? So like everybody has said here, you start with the progesterone, it helps sleep better. The testosterone, same thing as Dr. Durst. The cream, not so much, I didn't feel much. But the pellets just hit you like, wow, yes, thank you. And then you move into the estrogen where you need that too, because that was the hot flashes for me is when that, when I needed that, you could tell, but the testosterone pellets, just amazing. And you do need to keep doing the labs as you go. I've heard some women go to offices and they do the labs and they get it going and then they stop doing labs. And I'm
For a
like,
whole year.
no,
Yes.
you need to keep doing labs so you know where you're at. Because it's not here's your script. There you go, out the door. It changes. You need to work up to certain things. So it takes those labs continuously. It's a forever process. And I love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The horror stories I've heard about testosterone have been from friends I've later found out now that had the 1 year prescription.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They just got it, and then you have to deal with all of those things. They go back to call back the office, and the office can't give them any solutions. They're growing hair, their voice is getting deeper, and it's just a nightmare story, one after another. But everyone I've met that has it tested every 3 months and adjusted, it's a beautiful journey.
Yeah.
And you do need to educate yourself on researching the correct physicians and offices to see, because they're not all the same.
No, I think that's a good place to end, because I think that every woman is different, and clearly we're going to point that out on every roundtable discussion that we have. So it needs to be customized to that woman, the symptoms they're feeling, and how it's customized is you might have some goal levels that you're going for, but it's really symptom control, and that's how you customize it to that woman. And it does change with time. Our metabolism changes, our activity, our sleep, all of those things factor in. And I
our
think
body is changing.
and our body's changing all the time, yes. And I think that the key is perimenopause. In this discussion, perimenopause is the worst. It's the transition. It's the longest. Your hormones are all over the place. And testosterone and progesterone are the ones that are usually started and not estrogen right then, and it's life-changing for women. So testosterone is important no matter what. That's a perimenopause treatment and optimization. And then estrogen, of course, once you hit menopause, because you're there the rest of your life. And then optimizing that. But it is a full spectrum. You got to have it all. And you got to check it on a regular basis. So a hormone specialist would be finding somebody you trust and making sure that it's monitored, customized for you. Because again, if you have questions, concerns, something happens, then if you don't have those conversations, that's when it doesn't work for medicine, because they can't see them often enough and for patients because they think it just didn't work,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or it was too severe in side effects. And we always tell patients if they can just give us a little time, like just be patient. It's not an overnight fix.
Yeah.
Just give us some time
And nothing is one and
we'll
done.
get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one and done.
No one and done's in life.
Every woman should know that.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah.
you just keep with
Yeah.
it.
It takes
Right.
time.
It takes time. It's not
And everyone here's time frame is probably different.
correct.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And what helped, how it helped when they saw symptom resolution.
Oh yeah, no, it's different. It takes some are like good to go in 3 months, and some takes a year, and yeah, it happens, and then it'll change even after that. So,
Yeah.
well, good. Well, this was the first, and this one was a nobody told me, nobody warned me. Again, medicine wasn't made for her roundtable discussion. This is just the start. So we are just starting to open these conversations, or we're just starting with this roundtable. We are having conversations, but we want to have the conversation with women and be present to listen. You know, that if there are questions about the solutions that, you know, Faraday and myself are here, or myself, you know, on lives, to just answer those questions. And so we're going to do this. We're just getting started. So look forward to some live sessions we will do through YouTube, so that we will have a topic and we will have questions that you can ask and we can answer them on the live. And otherwise, stay tuned because this is just the start of the series.